Hey, welcome back to the infamous podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
This is episode 318, Dragon Echoes.
This is these next 5 days kind of special for the two of us.
Yeah, we're going to be old AF.
We're going to be Hank Aaron's number
Yeah.
for you baseball fans out there.
Yeah. Well, if you're a baseball fan, if you know a baseball fan, they've got nothing to do. So recommend the show to them to listen to. We won't talk about baseball at all to make them feel bad, other than this talking about baseball that would have made them feel bad.
Yes. I don't follow baseball in the off season, but I'm quite perturbed at the goings on.
Baseball doesn't have an off season, Darryl. What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What? I have been so over baseball since they vilified Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and Roger Clemens, but not Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
So,
and the fact of the matter is that every single owner, manager, commissioner knew exactly what was going on. But guess what? The ratings of baseball back then were through the roof. So,
well,
I
mean, so, all right, total aside. Those three individuals saved baseball because in 1994, when the last little walkout happened, you know what people weren't doing?
Watching baseball.
Coming back to watch baseball.
Going to baseball games.
I mean, people were just over it. It was done. It was dead in the water. It was, it was just stupid. And then these guys started hitting 9,000-foot dingers, and all of a sudden, Roger Clemens at 87 years old started throwing 105 miles per hour. Well, and then afterwards, everybody was like,
"How dare you!"
Yeah. The amount of the falsehoods of these people trying to it's I mean, we see it nowadays with other things where people are all high and mighty despite the things that they've done, and you see it a lot in Hollywood. Hollywood's the number one probably offender of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like once they brought baseball back, then they turned on them. They said, hey, you know what, your services are no longer required.
Yep.
Or whatever. So it was absolute BS.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's just one of those stupid things. But see, that's one of the things that made me not like sports anymore. To be honest.
Brian and Darryl talk sports.
Yeah. So, I mean, my favorite sport is professional wrestling. So,
hey, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I like it. I'm back. I'm back.
So you're like John Wick. So
I was actually going. Going for Christopher.
D, you working again?
I was actually going for Christopher Reeve in Somewhere in Time.
Oh, there you go.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. That's I know people that listen. They're like, "What in the hell is Somewhere in Time?"
What is Somewhere in Time? Who is Christopher Reeve? Anyway, but we both have birthdays in the next 5 days. So if you're listening to this on Sunday, it is my birthday. Thank you for the birthday wishes. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, it is Darryl's birthday, and he can just F right off. So
how rude.
Don't you dare send him a happy birthday.
I will jar the rest of this podcast.
You mean worse than you normally do?
How rude.
I thought you were being Michelle Tanner there. Or Stephanie Tanner.
These are not Michelle Tanner.
I thought you were being Stephanie Tanner. If you want to do the whole podcast like that, I dare you.
No, I couldn't do it.
Anyway, but we got on the tangent for the Hank Aaron number, but we'll both be 44. Which is hilarious because we grew up not far from each other, never met. We went to the same college as each other, never met. And what really brought us together was we worked in the same spot and I made fun of his Buffy doll.
action figure.
Anyway.
It's so random, honestly.
Well, because I had like 10 action figures on my desk. So
Yeah.
I I remember when I was at Kroger and like I started bringing stuff in, and I brought in like a Cyclops because I had two, and then I forget what else I had, but then I just brought in a bunch of Pops. Because they're like the perfect little desk, like decoration for a workspace. And they were all things I had doubles of, so I didn't care if somebody stole them. But then these other guys were like, well, I'm going to bring this in. And they like, were bringing in like your Spawn, right? Like things like 3 times the size of that. And it's like, well, that's just stupid. Why would you bring that to work? Like,
that's a little much.
Why is that not in the box? So,
rookie.
Yeah, right. Rookie move. Anyway, so yeah, no, we're excited. We are rambly tonight. We are recording a day earlier, so that's why
the original podcast recording date for us.
Yes, for us, yeah. So you'll hear us talk about episode 4 of The Wheel of Time, but not episode 5.
Dragon Reborn.
The Dragon Reborn. So anyway, so let's just kick off with these movie trailers that you well, the one I had already seen. The second one you found today because it just came out like 9 hours ago. Or I'm sorry, it came out like 6 hours ago.
So it's actually out.
The trailer.
Oh, the trailer. Okay.
So Reacher, so Amazon Prime Video has a Jack Reacher show coming out called Reacher, starring Alan Rickman, who you might know as Thad Castle or Marvel when in the Hunger Games, or Hawk. So if this is the reason they killed him off of Titans, yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, right. I can't think if so, he got the better end of the deal.
Yeah. I just gotta say though, like this trailer was a ton of fun. It's the first book. But the guy who he's working with, and I did not get to go to the IMDb because you sent this to me and then I forgot about it, and then I watched it right before I dialed in. The black guy with the glasses, with horn rim glasses, what has he been in?
He was the cop that worked with Liv in iZombie.
Yes. Okay, I could not place him for the life of me. Malcolm Godwin, that's right. He was one of the best parts about iZombie, by the way.
Oh, absolutely, he was.
He was okay. He was also in the AMC show Breakout Kings.
Never watched.
Did you ever watch that? That was a good show. That's well worth watching. Like I don't know where it's streaming or not, but if you can find that, go back and watch that. That was a really good one. It had Dominic Lombardozzi and Jimmy Simpson, who are both like HBO staples. And then Laz Alonso, who was Mother's Milk in the other Amazon show that we enjoy, The Boys.
It's on Hulu.
Well, it is? Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely go watch it.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, I like that cast.
They're all criminals who get like pulled out of jail to help like the police run like heists. And like,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Like, yeah, it's really like, good. They're all like, yeah.
You had me at heist.
Yeah. Well, they're all criminals that have been pulled out of jail for their specific skill sets for crime. So yeah,
a particular set of skills.
Just not with soy sauce for hair color. But so the Reacher trailer. It looks like it's the first book, so which is great. Like I liked the first Jack Reacher movie with Tom Cruise. I actually like the second one too, Never Back Down, or as I call it, Jack Reacher 2, Never Stop, Never Reaching. But because he's so little, he's always reaching. Plus the first one had Rosamund Pike. You know, like. We talked about her last week as that was like peak Rosamund Pike, and I disagree. It was a James Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan. That was peak Rosamund Pike.
Which one was that?
It was one with Halle Berry. I think it was Die Another Day.
Oh,
I didn't remember
she was in that. Yeah,
sword fighter. Anyway, but I digress. The Reacher trailer though is really good. It looks like it's got a ton of action. It's got a ton of humor. It's got Alan Richman's abs, so he can't help but show those off. That stupid, well-built jackass. So, but no, I mean, I think it looks good. I think these are the kind of roles that he should be doing, because he can do serious. He's a badass, and he's funny as shit. So
Yeah. Yeah, like he just looked like in that trailer. And again, some of those scenes were scenes from the original Jack Reacher movie. I mean, again, because it's from the book, obviously. So
correct.
There were some scenes where, oh, I remember when that would happen there and here. I mean, with what's changes here and there, but just the gist of it is very similar because it's taking place in the same time period in the books.
Right.
But I really he just looked like he is having a lot of fun in this role.
Yeah,
I know it's just a 2-minute trailer, but it looks just like he's gonna have a shit ton of fun doing this. And that's when an actor does that, and when that comes out, there's just something about it. Even if the movie is not good or if the show is not great, when you can tell an actor is just having the time of their life doing something, that really gets me interested in whatever it is.
Yeah, like when you sit there and you're watching and you hear he had the time of his life. You're the one who made me record on a Thursday. You did this. This is your fault. I totally fell asleep. Like between 6 and 6:45, I 100% fell asleep and took a nap. Anyway, no, but this looks good. It comes out in February. I want to say February 4th, 2nd.
I didn't see the day. I just saw February.
Hold on, it's in the trailer. It's at the end. I got it up. Maybe it's not in the trailer. Anyway, yeah, it comes out in February. I want to say it's February 4th for some reason, but February 4th, right there at the 45-second mark. So yeah, I don't know. It just looks good. I like we've been talking about. Amazon has definitely stepped up their production quality.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of production quality, we will talk about this for all of 10 seconds, but I just got a notification on my phone about the series premiere of Santa Inc.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're not even going to give that. Yeah, no. So no. we don't support that douchebag. Either one of those douchebags.
No, not at all.
With any of that. So, all right. So moving on to the next trailer that it actually dropped the other day, which you apparently missed. It's from the Daily Wire. They're the ones who did the Run, Hide, Fight. This one's called Shut In. It is. It's also from the Daily Wire because they're trying to make movies now. They've got Terror on the Prairie coming out later.
Is that first part of next year? Or is that late?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be middle of spring, I think. Anyway, but this one is the guy who directed Disturbia.
Oh yeah, DJ Caruso.
DJ Caruso, thank you. And then what's his name? The dude who did the Buffalo 66 with Christina Ricci. Vincent Gallows, I think is his name.
That sounds
Vincent Gallows. Yep. Yeah, he's in that as well. He did Buffalo 66, and then he also was in the very controversial The Brown Bunny, where Chloe Sevigny went down on him for real on film and everything, and people are like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, so, I remember that controversy.
Wow, this movie. So sorry. There it is. Never mind. So DJ Caruso also directed Triple X, which, if you have not seen that is what Vin Diesel went and did instead of doing Too Fast, Too Furious. And it was a great choice because that movie is ridiculously fun. But unfortunately, that movie is what all the Fast and Furious movies turned into.
Yes.
So
you are correct, sir.
But yeah. So anyway, no, Shut In
Right.
is a single mom does everything she can to save her children after being held captive. It was written by Melanie Toast. What do we know about Melanie Toast? She wrote The River at Night and this. See, now if you're going to do entry-level people.
This is the type of film you do this
And I'm
with.
not bashing the Daily Wire. I'm really not, because this is only their second movie. But this is what you use entry-level people for.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't use entry-level people for Hawkeye.
No, you do not.
And actually, I have nice things to say about Hawkeye. Yeah, no, definitely not. Or Sylvie. Yeah, I was actually talking to a buddy, and he was like, I was like, whoa, what was it? We were talking about Hawkeye, and I was like, yeah, no, for me, the MCU is kind of dead. To me, it ended at Infinity War, and Thanos won, and we got our happy ending, and everything since then has just been fan fiction.
That's hilarious.
He was so mad. He got really mad.
What?
So yeah.
Why?
Well, because he's Asian, and so Shang-Chi is like the beginning and the end of the Marvel universe for him now.
Are you serious?
No,
Dude,
I'm not even kidding.
And again, I'm someone who actually had fun watching Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But it is like on the outside looking in of the top 12 movies. Top 15 probably.
I am not watching Shang-Chi because I don't want to watch Shang-Chi. I actually kind of do because I love martial arts movies. I'm not watching Shang-Chi because Simu Liu is a douchebag who says shitty things to fans.
Yeah.
And so,
again,
I don't support people who do that.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the plus, right? So are you really supporting him?
I am not. My money does not go towards him. So that is a very sore subject around my house right now.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but as far as Shut In, I told you right before we started recording, this was a disturbing trailer. It made me uncomfortable, and that's not often the something I would say about a movie or a trailer.
Yeah,
and that's good. That is absolutely perfect for this type of movie.
Tinglies crawling up the small of your back, uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like it's one of those things that you watch, and there's the scene where she's up against the door, and you see the nail come through. And then on the very next instant, she pulls her hand back and it's bloody. And if anybody has seen A Quiet Place, like when we talked about A Quiet Place, like when she stepped on that nail, or when Marv steps on the nail, or is it Harry? When Harry steps on the nail in Home Alone, that is to me one of the most horrifying sights. Is seeing someone pull their hand out of a nail or their foot out of a nail, or like Jaws in the Happy Gilmore when he's got the nail just sticking out of his head. But I will say like I said before, the production quality on this looks really, really good. I mean, this is what happens when you have someone like DJ Caruso, who's a really good director. Disturbia is a great modern take on Rear Window, and I mean, this just looks fun. My question is, and I'm going to ruin the movie in one sentence, why not take one of those kitchen chairs and prop the door open? So, but yeah. Anyway, that being said, this looks cool. I'm excited for it. It's coming this spring. They didn't give an actual date. They just said spring 2022. I have a feeling they're going to start pumping out more of this stuff. So,
and that's good. I mean, I really enjoyed Run, Hide, Fight. Hopefully enjoy this. Terror on the Prairie. I'm looking forward to that. And Gina Carano.
Yep.
And again, it's a Western. So.
Yep.
Hey.
See, I'm not a huge Western fan. Hey, speaking of Westerns, our favorite shooter on a Western came out and said that he did not pull the trigger. Did you see that one?
I saw that. I saw that Shiza.
Yeah. So, man, there's just so much fun stuff. Like, I'm hoping that they arrest him soon. And then you got the Jesse Smollett kid. uh, who apparently made them do a rehearsal.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to say what I want to say. How Broadway are you that you make them do a rehearsal for a hate crime? Let's just put it that way.
Oh my goodness.
Let's just ruin the word Broadway. Anyway, but yeah, he made them do a rehearsal in the spot where he knew that the camera would pick them up.
Well, what do we say? What do you say about Hollywood types?
They're husks. I mean, come on. And here's the sad thing: he was in the Mighty Ducks.
He was?
Yeah, he was
didn't know that.
Jesse's little brother, the kid who called everybody a cake eater, the super racist black kid who called everyone cake eaters. So, yeah, that kid. But yeah, no.
His
sister
sister was in. Remember, his sister was in Friday Night Lights. The last couple seasons.
His sister
Journey
was
Smollett.
also Black Canary.
Yeah. Well, not really, but anyway.
She was a Black Canary. No. What is her name?
Journey. Jurnie. She was also in with Jonathan Majors. She was in Lovecraft. What's it?
Yeah, no,
Lovecraft
she
Country.
was in something else too. That hold on, I'm looking it up real quick. No, she was in something that what was it? Oh, she was in True Blood. That's right. She was in the last couple seasons of True Blood.
Oh, I didn't watch it to that part.
You
I
should
only watched,
definitely
I think I watched
go.
like the first
you
three.
should definitely go
maybe.
watch the seasons with her in it, if you know what I mean. Because she's super hot.
Yeah,
she was
been
in
good
Parenthood
the things
too.
I've seen her.
I like her as an actress. I liked her in Friday Night Lights. I liked her on Parenthood. I really liked her in True Blood.
I liked her in Lovecraft Country as well.
I didn't make it past the first episode of Lovecraft.
See, that's the
Country.
thing. I love both her and Jonathan Majors, their performances. It's just and Michael. What's the guy? He died.
Michael K. Williams. So
yeah, he was great in that. The performances were spectacular. It was just the pacing.
Yeah.
Was very up and down.
Okay, so
and
this is weird. Sorry, I called you Michelle Tanner before. She was Denise, Michelle's little friend on Full House.
That's
from 1992 to 1994.
That's funny.
I pulled her IMDb up. Anyway,
as we're wont to do.
Yeah, right. This is why I do this in front of a computer. Anyway, so yeah, no, Shut In looks good. It looks like it's going to be fun. And you know, the more like Daily Wire does from this, the more like other outlets like Daily Wire can do to add to the culture and not just like tell agenda-driven stories, but because you know this is the second movie they've put out, and it's the second movie in a row where the female is the lead.
Yeah.
I actually just thought of that just now. And then Terror on the Prairie with
yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, anything Nick Cersei's in, he's the lead. So
I forgot he's in that.
Yeah. I mean, he's the lead in Justified. Sorry, Tim. But yeah. All right. So let's get to Hawkeye. Why we're talking about all this stuff. Speaking of female leads, so Jeremy Renner in Hawkeye this week. All right. So I was lukewarm on the first episode of Hawkeye. Actually putting it, I was lukewarm. I fell asleep both times I watched it in the exact same spot. Because it was boring. Episode 2 was better. Episode 3, I think, has been the best one so far, and has probably been the best thing in the MCU TV since the third to last episode of WandaVision.
That's fair. Again, we were talking about this last week. I don't count What If because I just don't. There's like Sylvie. I'm not going back in for those. People know, but I'm just saying I'm not going back to rewatch Loki.
Right.
There's nothing about that show that makes me want to go back.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to rewatch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's nothing about it that makes me want to rewatch it. It's just going to piss me off parts of it.
Yeah.
Although
I don't want to watch Captain America 4 because of that.
Yeah. And the performance of Isaiah Bradley, and I just skipped out on the guy's name.
Carl
Lumbly. Carl Lumbly. Yeah. His performance, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Everybody else was up and down. WandaVision is one of those shows I will go back and rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
And Hawkeye, this was a good episode where, and again, this is trending upwards. This shows, and again, I know there are only 3 episodes, but it's doing what the 2 shows before it that I just mentioned didn't do. They didn't get progressively better.
Well,
and again,
I think it's what they refuse to do, because the other thing is they've moved the story along every week.
Mm-hmm. So again, this episode is not without issues and things I disliked. And again, we were talking about how the Daily Wire has 3 movies with female leads. Well, this episode starts with basically the female lead in this episode, and that's Maya / and we're going to call her Echo.
Yeah, we're going to call her Echo, but this episode starts with the Diversity Olympics.
Absolutely does.
All the way down to not only is Echo deaf, but she's also an amputee. I think. Is that how you say that now? I don't know if they have a fancy word. But yeah, it's just, come on. Here's the thing: is Echo's the bad guy?
She is.
Echo is a net new character. They tried to make us feel sorry for the Kingpin's quote unquote niece, who is going to get a spinoff series already. It's been in development since before this came out.
Which I'm sorry, I just don't see that doing any better than the other 2 shows I talked about.
Don't make spinoff series about the villains,
unless it's Thanos, honestly. But I mean,
Thanos was not a villain.
You can absolutely.
It was written on the toilet in the first episode. He was right.
That is correct.
I am not the only one who thinks that.
It is canon now.
We've been over this. He didn't go far enough. Yes. That was his problem. He went with a half measure.
Yeah, and he tried to rectify that in the end game, but we saw what happened. But yeah,
that was fantastic.
She's absolutely she's absolutely the bad guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the fact, just because now, was that her uncle or her dad?
It was her dad.
Okay. Okay, I understand while she's crying, but trying to give us sympathy with, we know what Ronin did. Mm-hmm. Ronin was icing bad guys. That's all he was doing.
And he was not a good guy.
So there was a reason. No, he wasn't.
Just like Dexter Morgan is not a good guy. Ronin was not a good guy.
No. And so the character of Echo in this episode did not work for me one bit.
Hold on. She worked when she was being a bad guy. When she's chasing down Hawkeye and Kate, trying to kill them, she worked. Because she has a very intense, the actress has a very intense look upon her face. And the actress's name, and I should have had this already, and I don't know where it went.
Oh, I thought you did.
I have it up. No, that's not it. Where did it go? No. Oh, Alaqua, Alaqua Cox is,
sure.
So Maya / Echo.
That's a good point that's a good discrepancy right there. She didn't work for me in the way they were trying to frame her. Correct. As the villain of the story or this episode. You're right. She did work, but I'm taking it, when you take that cold opening and how they try to frame her as this sympathetic character, That did not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let me kind of, just take those apart, and they're two separate things. She worked as a villain. She didn't work for me what they're trying to do.
You know who I blame for all of this not knowing what a hero is? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah, I think you said that.
I've said this for
in
years.
The last week to me.
I 100% blame WWE and Stone Cold Steve Austin for breaking the idea of a hero, because they wanted him to be a heel, and he was super over, and he was only over because he was fighting back against authority, and instead of fighting back against authority and doing what was right, he fought back against authority but still was a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so he became an anti-hero. And so now, like, it has spread out to all, like, again, don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Don't care. But you look at Antifa, they think they're the good guy because they're out there doing bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah. And again, I don't mind the idea of that idea. What I have a problem with is they're using it way too much, and then they're muddying the waters, because you get people that don't really have the talent to tell a nuanced anti-hero story.
Right.
And it just gets messy. And that's what, and you're right about that. I don't mind the anti-hero. It's just being used too much by people who don't have the skill set to properly frame the character.
But we don't need an anti-hero when we have two dyed-in-the-wool heroes.
In this, and again, this is one of those words being used too much. She should be the villain.
She should be the mustache twirling, sign language twirling, mustache twirling villain. Like,
but we all know why that's not the case.
Like, even her line where she tells Clint he relies too much on technology because he doesn't know how to sign well enough, was like enough to make her terrifying, right? Because she's like, I don't give a shit about you, but I do know I want to hurt you. So. Again, I think when she was the villain, she worked. Any other time where they wanted us to feel sorry for her, she didn't work. And her whole hero origin that she got, is she going to turn on the Tracksuit Mafia now? I don't see that as a thing that makes any sense. Unless when Yelena, that's not right. Yelena shows up to try and kill Clint. Or to kill Clint, then she becomes like the good guy. But again, then that's you can't tell that story in 6 episodes.
No, and
none of that will feel
maybe. Earned. Yeah, and even if you're going in that direction, it still doesn't work as going into her own show. She has to be over, to use wrestling terminology, as a baby face, to get her own show, because I don't know who's writing the show. It's in development, all that stuff. But if everything holds true to how they've been doing it, they're going to get another newbie writer who doesn't have that nuance or experience to tell not just a compelling tale, but something that makes sense for the character and her arc into going from, a total heel to from that heel all the way to the baby face.
Yeah. I mean, Echo's been around. She's been around since 1999 as Echo. She was Ronin in November of 2005. She's created by David Mack and Joe Quesada she was a Daredevil villain. One of the many Daredevil villains that they've decided to use elsewhere. But yeah, no, I just don't get it. Like, honestly, if they should be focusing on anything to spin off this show, it's Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, who
absolutely
is the ideal version of this character. She was kicking all sorts of ass this week. But the best part is when he's like, wait for the signal, frees himself and then takes off. And she's like, wait, how did you, what did you like?
Yeah.
And here's the best part. It's her confidence got shook.
Yes.
This
he even says that.
This is what Star Wars did so wrong with Rey. Rey's confidence never once got shook, which is why people mistake her as a full blown Mary Sue. She's a Mary Sue in the Force, absolutely. But fighting, like being scrappy, being the person who's going to climb up the side of the prison, that makes sense. We learned that pretty quick. That's the only thing Jar Jar did well in that series was like kind of introducing how capable Rey was as a person.
Right.
And then he failed every other part of that character. But here, like I think who was the writer of this one? This was Kate Mathewson and Tanner Bean as the writers. I thought they wrote an excellent episode, and this was Bert and Bertie, who we talked about last week. Who, I really like Troop Zero, which was a movie they did for Amazon. So they're not necessarily like entry level because they've done a couple things, but like this is their speed. Like honestly, doing like TV, I think like this, those kids have a future. But no, I love the scene, like especially when like the Tracksuit Mafia kept putting the quarters in the unicorn and the horse and kept them going, and it looked like she was gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Right? From just that constant like motion of rocking back and forth. But no, part of the reason I like this episode so much was because of the growth we got to see in Kate, the fact that we got to see her knock down and then be resilient, but not petulant. And I love when she shot, I forget which arrow it was. I think it was the one that blew up, when she was like, what are the 4 more dangerous arrows than that? That was a great line. That was someone who was thinking the whole time. Also, the chemistry between her and Jeremy Renner is off the charts because he can't hear, and she's talking to him, and he's saying one thing, and then she starts talking about that, and then he goes back to the original thing she said without ever having heard it. I thought that was a masterstroke of character.
I love that when they were on, like when they were like in the subway or whatever, and she was like, "We need to go check on the dog." Yeah, like how long can the dog last? Like without going to the bathroom or something. And then he was like, you did a really good job, like talking about her, how good she was as an archer. And she was just like, really? And then he goes back to, we need to check on the dog. I mean, that is that back and forth they have this has been, and again, it's been up and down as far as quality, especially the first episode. But what hasn't, well, they weren't in it together really then. But these last 2 episodes, what it shows me is that there are people that can show that buddy cop chemistry that we thought we were going to get with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we did not get. And I mean, and again, I'm getting it with this. And again, I've always been a fan of Haley Steinfeld.
Right.
Yeah, I loved her in Edge of 17. And in the Pitch Perfect movies. I think she is a treasure to be brought into the MCU. They need something like this. And just, I will say one of the things I really like, and there's a part of it I didn't like. And the part of it I didn't like, it's small. It's just I called it the retcon of Hawkeye's hearing issue.
Yeah, you and I disagree on this actually. So,
well, no, it's not that we disagree. It's if they say something in these next 3 episodes about it, because again, you can't just bring this in. I don't care if it is part of what happened to him. You can't just bring it in and not explain it. And again, when I say explain it, 2 lines. That's all you need.
Well, they showed us in the I think it was in the first episode, or it was in the second episode when she notices the hearing aid, because he's like, hey, and he switches side, and she goes, oh, what a gentleman. And he goes, no, I want to hear you. And he points at the hearing aid. She goes, what happened?
Oh, you know what?
And then it shows the things exploding by his head, like the whole Avengers compound falling in on him with the Infinity Gauntlet.
But I will, again, that is, I will say that is true. that might have been one of the moments I still don't like that, because this is the reasoning. They're doing this not because it makes sense as a character. It's because diversity. That's why.
Well, but no,
However,
Hawkeye had hearing aids in the comics on and off all throughout his run.
That.
So I think they did.
Wait, listen to.
Well, hold on. They showed us. I think that's the important thing. They showed us why. Go ahead.
That doesn't matter, because they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're not doing it for the plot of the character. So again, that's a small thing. I have a problem with that. I'm going to have a problem with that, but it's a small problem. Yeah. What I did like is how they used it in this episode, not just for the fun parts or anything like that. The part, for example, where he thinks, his wife calls, but it's actually his son, and that back and forth where Kate is helping him talk to his son because he can't hear him.
Right.
And then at that end, man, that was really heartbreaking, where he's like, it's okay if you don't come home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Renner's, his just like almost breaking down in that scene, that the way they used it and his acting trumps my issues with reason they're using. So when I say it's an issue, I mean, it's a small issue. It's not going to take away, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't bring that up and say that.
That's fair.
But I did like how they used it in the sense of not just, like I said, not just for comedy, but for drama as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can get on board with that. I'm looking at her IMDb right now, and I'm going to pull another aside here. She's in a music video, Machine Gun Kelly featuring Haley Steinfeld, At My Best. And it just made me think of that meme I sent you today.
Well, she is a singer, so
I know, but like, it's the Machine Gun Kelly thing.
That is funny.
That was like, I sent Darryl this meme. It's on Instagram. You guys can find it. Machine Gun Kelly got burnt so bad by Eminem in a diss track that he's the only rapper that ever changed genres because he got burned so bad in a diss track.
It took me a minute to realize that it was actually him singing that other song. I'm like,
yeah,
wow. Yeah,
so,
wow.
Yeah, he went from like hardcore white rapper wannabe to emo boy with an eye. Anyway, so I mean, this episode, I thought this episode worked really well. I love how it ended as well, because they went back to Bishop Manor. I don't know what it's called. I just call it Bishop Manor. And what's his name? Jack had the Ronin sword ready to decapitate old Ronin himself.
And I love Hawkeye's like, man, I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah.
The little line he threw out.
Yep.
And again, one thing I did want to mention, because I actually put it down in my notes, absolutely loved the whole Pym arrow thing. That was hilarious. That's
actually in the thumbnail for the video on the YouTube. I loved it too. I thought it was great. I like the what good is a suction cup arrow?
Yeah. Oh, that's what it's
for.
Yeah, I just love their, like, even with the and again, I believe we'll probably have issues going forward in the next 3 episodes, but as long as we keep this chemistry between these two going, because this is enough to make, like, just watching them together is enough to make me want to watch the show. And one thing that they did give us a little Easter egg is, and again, I know there's a relation between them in the comic, is Echo and Kingpin.
Yeah.
They absolutely gave us a little Easter egg of Kingpin when she was at her karate lesson.
Yep. I mean, again, Daredevil villain, so makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was Vincent D'Onofrio, his voice, at least, or someone who did a rough approximation of it, or whatnot. So it's funny. So Rhys Thomas, who directed the first 2 episodes, is directing the 6th episode, and then Bert and Bertie are doing 3, 4, and 5. So they're only having 2 directors and then different writers. So I mean,
wait a minute, who's doing 6?
Rhys Thomas, who did the first episode.
Okay, yeah,
first and
1,
second.
2,
he did 1 and 2 and 6, and Bert and
6,
Bertie are 3, 4, and 5. So, honestly, I enjoyed this one. I did actually watch this one twice. On my own accord.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I would absolutely watch this one again. Like the first one, it's a little it's slow.
Mhm.
Second one, it's okay, but some of the stuff with them is good enough. I would absolutely watch this episode again.
I would argue
Like
the first episode is legitimately bad.
I think I'm being nice. I'm being a little bit too nice with it.
So, I mean, it is a
Probably.
pilot, so it should probably be one of the worst episodes of the series.
Yeah.
But this was a 6 episode thing that was picked up. This
You don't
wasn't,
have the time to do
yeah,
that.
Yeah, they just. I mean, they got into the action somewhat, but it just was not. It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it wasn't. It was tough.
all right, we are going to move on to Wheel of Time now.
The Dragon Reborn.
Yeah, you're going to have to carry the load on this one because I hated this. I hated every second of this. It took me two times to get through it. And I still don't know anybody's names.
And I will say I don't need to do this with this show, but fantasy shows especially, I usually put the subtitles on if I'm watching it for the first time.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
Because I've had issues, and I don't mean just with this show. Well, I don't have issues with this show because I know the characters from the books, but I've had issues with shows where I'm watching it, and at the end of it, like I know one name.
Yeah.
So I that's what I started doing, just writing subtitles or just using the subtitles. That will help, and because that is frustrating, where it's just like, yeah, I don't know anybody's name. Okay, sure, let's go.
I think if someone were gonna be like, hey Brian, sum up the Wheel of Time series to me in a quick, like, elevator pitch. It's female witches are power hungry and don't want to share with male witches, and everybody hates each other.
You're laughing, but
that's
in certain ways that is true. Not just here, but in the books.
Yeah,
too.
I can't imagine the books are any good after seeing this. And like, I know you said there's a lot of stuff that's different, but like the B plot this week with the redhead dude's girlfriend and the guy that axed his wife to death accidentally.
Yeah, Perrin and Egwene. That is like those two.
Yeah,
boring as shit.
To quote
that part.
To quote Thor, "You really are the worst."
Yeah.
Paraphrase Thor. You really are the worst.
Those characters, how they're written, and the two actors they pulled they don't pull any type of emotion from me except boredom when I see them on the screen.
I don't understand why they split everybody up in the in the second episode. And again, even Lord of the Rings, like, waited, like the Fellowship of the Ring, like in the books, in the movie, they waited a long time before they split that group up.
Yeah, and that's where the difference between the books and because I couldn't tell you how long into the books it was, because there was a lot more in Emond's Field from that first episode. There was a lot more of detail of getting to know the characters they kind of just threw us into it in this one, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I think what it did do, it just didn't get us enough time to see these characters interacting with one another to give us like what type of connection they have. And again, some of that could be the writing is not strong enough. Because I told you last week, I'm not in that. Half the actors I do not like on this show. Most of them I've never seen before, but I just don't like how. I don't know if it's them necessarily or the writing or both. Perrin and Egwene are my least favorite right now. Nynaeve, and she is the one that actually helped heal Moraine in this episode. I don't know if it was because she was with Lan, who is Moraine's warder, played by, was it Daniel Henney or something like that? But there was something about her that came out that actually got me liking her, because the first 3 episodes I didn't like her either.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a chance that over time some of these actors and some of these characters can grow on me. It's just when you have the first 4 episodes and 2 of your main characters just aren't hitting with people, that is not good.
Right.
And that there is definitely a problem with some of the writing in the sense of not making characters captivating enough.
Yeah.
That first episode should have probably have been 2 episodes. And
I mean,
if it was 2, it would have given us more, or an hour and a half episode where we could have gotten more time
with the group.
And
because,
that was one of the things
group
I know
is
we
all
get
off
in the
on
books.
their own. There's none of those 5 with the Moraine, and Lon. Is that Lan?
Yeah.
The
like local area network.
Not, or as I like to call him, not Legolas.
Yeah.
I mean, where's your bow and arrow, dude? Where's your bow and arrow?
Oh, we had a guy with a bow and arrow in this episode.
We did, and we had dude with axes like Gimli, and
yeah.
you know, it was. I mean, this is like
we had Harold Finehair.
Yeah, absolutely. We watched
the guy with the axes,
and I'm like, I just want to, I just want to go read Lord of the Rings now, or watch
I haven't read that in a while,
or go watch that old Hobbit cartoon movie from the 70s.
Wow, that's man.
All of
I
that
actually found
it makes me want to watch the Hobbit movies. That's how bad this is.
The Hobbit, the first one. If
No,
you're talking about
I'm talking about the all 3 Hobbit movies. I would rather watch than this.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to hang up after that. God, the Battle of the 5 Armies is one of the worst movies out there.
Horrific. But
yeah,
you know, I mean,
like even this show had better special effects than that.
The effects are good.
Movie.
The scenery is good. Like all of that, like was really good. Like when the again, their magic takes so long. Like, and anyone who's fighting any of these people, just line up your archers.
Yeah,
dude, you don't even need an axe. You just have your archers hang out in the high ground and just like shoot them all down, because it's going to take them 45 minutes to spool up.
And that's one of the things.
It's like the Undertaker walk into the ring.
So that's the big thing for the magic for me that doesn't they haven't translated it well. I'm not a fan of the effects either of the magic, but this magic is supposed to be just balls to the wall, just fantastical.
Yeah.
And it seemed so dull. Now, with that being said, I did like the scene where you get just to tell people about this, do you have the summary, or is the summary in here?
It's in there. Where the lady healed everybody?
Yeah, no, not that. Oh. But
where the green one was fighting everybody in the woods. That was kind of cool too.
Yeah. So the idea of this episode is we get this character Logain, who he thinks he is the dragon reborn, and that's what Moraine is looking for. Like, however, the problem is that he thinks he's getting advice from past dragons, which I thought that scene was pretty cool. The special effects were a little bit weak in that, but where he has those 2 shadowy figures whispering to him. What that is, it's not the old, the past dragons, as far as, giving him advice on how to do better than they did. That's kind of the madness of what happens when a male taps into the one power in the place that it's corrupted. So that was like the little snippets of him slowly being driven mad by the one power.
Okay.
And so I did like that. I like seeing him. And so there's a process called the gentling, and that's what the Aes Sedai do to men they find can wield the one power, and it's cutting them off from the one power.
I see.
It's
a fate worse than death.
Yeah, it was brutal seeing that scene, even though there wasn't a lot to be seen, if that makes any sense, just because of the idea of being cut off from, it's almost, you could almost liken it to, someone that, gets gets high on heroin or something like that, and then immediately cut him off,
Sure.
like in the middle of that high,
Fate worse
and
than
say
death.
never again. Yeah. So I did, I did like this. What was his name? I wrote it. The guy that played Logain Ablar, Alvaro Morte. I like the job. I did like him as Logain because he was so confident that, hey, I am the Dragon Reborn. I am the one that's going to make this world right. And he wasn't a bad guy, or at least he didn't think he was the bad. He thought he was, the hero of his own story. And I'll just leave it at that. But I did like that part of seeing why the Aes Sedai are so militant in the sense of how they handle men that get the one power. And you get a little bit more of Moraine and her trek of why she's looking for it. But she's one of those characters, even in the books, her motivations are, she keeps her motivations close to the vest, to the point that even the reader doesn't necessarily know where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And like, I like that. Like, even here where she talks to Logain, she's like, tell me why I should believe you. So she gives him the chance, even though she doesn't think it's him, she still gives him that chance despite what her sisters would do.
Yeah.
And I think she's just it's not just because it's Rosamund Pike, but I do like the character, and this is one that, for me, she's one of the stronger points of the show. Watching, all of the different, again, the Aes Sedai are like any other clan or cult or whatever. You have different fragmentations within the group, and you see some of that here. So, I mean, and you see and one of the things they mentioned about the Aes Sedai and their wardens, and they talk about how if an Aes Sedai dies, it almost drives the warden mad, because that connection, it's almost like a programming, in the sense of I am programmed to serve this Aes Sedai. I am programmed to help protect her, to whatever her mission is. And when that programming is cut off, it's like they have nothing. They're aimless. And that's one of the things they were talking about, how what happens when for an Aes Sedai, yes, an Aes Sedai would greatly mourn the death of their warden, but they would be able to move on. It's the other way around. It's not so cut and dry. So again, this episode had issues. It still had the same issues with Perrin and Egwene. They're just not doing it for me. Yeah. Every time, honestly, every time they're on screen, I check out. That's the same way I was with Nynaeve, but I think getting her into that, with Moraine and Lan, and then her finding out that she actually has the one power and being able to access it like she does, she got a little bit more interesting to me. Rand and Matt and Tom, them coming across the Eyeless One / the Nazgul, I thought that was great. And we don't know what happens to Tom, but Rand and Matt, who he's kind of under a trance with, when they were in that city, he stole this dagger, which is, I was going to say haunted, but not haunted, but like possessed or something along those lines. And so that's affecting him a little bit. Not sure where they're going with that, or how they're going to present that to us on the show. But I do like the character that plays Rand. The character that plays Matt, I think I said last week.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new actor in season 2.
Yep.
So I'm not going to, I think that could be a good thing, because I'm not 100% sold on this guy. I really like the actor that plays Tom. So that's the thing. This show is, it's such a rich, with it is such a rich book series, source material, despite the fact that I think every book could be cut down by 150 pages.
So the series feels rushed and meandering all at the same time.
Yeah. So the rush part, absolutely. And it's like they have to hurry up and get to one place, and then they sit there and talk.
Yep. So
So I think your point was spot on, though. They could have changed that by giving us more time with the group as a whole before splitting them up.
yeah, because we didn't get to know any of those characters.
And this is the thing, even if people would say, hey, in the books they did that, the difference with this in the books, you hear people's internal thoughts, so you get to know the character. Because Perrin is a very internal character in the books. He doesn't say much, but he has, kind of like Game of Thrones, you had characters with their own chapters. That's how you got to know the characters, by reading the chapters about like that character's narrating. You don't have that luxury in a show. So you have to do a better job of maybe stretching stuff out, that's instead of saying, hey, we need to get to the action. You need to build that. And that's why they gave him a wife to kill. And that to me, it doesn't work, because they were trying to show he has struggled with violence. Mm-hmm. That is a very cheap way to show somebody struggles with violence.
Yeah.
That tells me, as a writer, that's the best you can do. So the writing has been up and down. I still, like, this episode gave me a little bit more hope for the potential of what it can be. I just don't know if it will get there.
Sure.
Even though it's been, I think season 2 has already been signed off on.
Yeah, it's already, it was before this even aired. All right. Yeah. Well, let's move on to what we're watching now. We'll end on a high note. Things we like.
Yeah.
So you have a list of things. Real quick before we get into it, I did find something today that I will be watching.
What's that?
Knight Rider is on
Knight Rider 2000?
No. All of Knight Rider is on Netflix now.
All of Knight Rider.
I watched the pilot.
That was one.
I completely forgot he was somebody else. Yeah, Michael Long.
Yeah.
And he got shot in the face. Through the back of the head. The bullet came out his face, which is like graphic. But no. So, all right. So you
made my day here telling me that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I thought it was just Knight Rider 2000.
No, that's on there too, which made me very excited because I love at the end when Kit is the 55 Bel Air. All right, so you have 4 things. I technically have 4 things, but it's one thing.
It's really one.
Because I'm going to talk about mine as a whole. But why don't you go through all of yours first, and then I'll go through all of mine.
Okay. So I have Arcane, League of Legends. I'm kind of savoring that. And part of the reason I'm savoring that is because I've been coerced into watching Christmas movies. I've watched one Christmas movie every day for the past 4 or 5 nights.
What movies have you watched? And have any of them been Jingle All the Way yet?
That was on Sunday on YouTube TV, and we kind of watched the last half hour of that one, or we'll probably go back to that too anyway. But we've watched obviously A Christmas Story, Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We started A Christmas Carol, the one with Jim Carrey, but half hour and we're like, okay, let's watch something else. We've watched Santa Claus 1 and 2. What else did we? Christmas with the Cranks as well.
All right.
So that's the reason why I haven't caught up more with Arcane. What I did start watching, I'm 3 episodes in, is Cowboy Bebop, the original, the anime.
The OG.
And, yes, as you put it in here. That show has some serious style. The music is great. The characters, I just met Faye Valentine in episode 3, so I'm only 3 episodes in. I just love the style of just everything about the tone. I see why people love that show. Mm-hmm. And I have 23 episodes left, so I love it so far. And then last one, I've only watched the first episode, is Hellbound. It's a Korean show on Netflix. It's about, and from the gist of it is, people sin, they get a call, almost like one of those horror movies, like, hey, you have 5 days until you're going to be dragged to hell.
Yeah.
And then these like mountain, like just thing from Fantastic Four made of smoke that they leave no trace. They just come. People can see them. They just beat the person bloody, drag them to hell, and well, there's that. And
Okay.
again, there's this kind of like doomsday cult that's saying, hey, people need to know about these sins and all this, and it's a lot for one episode. They give you a lot in the one episode. I'm really curious to see where this goes. It's just I've become a fan of Korean cinema. Starting with Train to Busan. They had Kingdom, which was the period piece zombie movie. There's this other show called My Name, which I'm gonna watch sometime soon.
Nice.
And also probably in the next week or two, check out Lost in Space season 3, which premiered yesterday.
Yeah, I was thinking we'd talk about that next week. So
Okay.
it's only 8 episodes. So
Oh, it's only 8. Okay.
Yep. So cool, man. Sounds like you're watching some fun stuff.
Yeah, and I will continue to watch Christmas movies
Nice.
until the Christmas season's over.
I went down the Ip Man
I am not a
rabbit hole.
yes. That was pretty funny.
There's a fifth one.
Checking the notes.
There is a fifth
What?
one. And it's on Hulu, which I did not learn about until today. So I'll probably watch that this weekend. But as I was telling you, Ip Man, the first Ip Man is amazing. It is freaking awesome. It is everything you want a martial arts movie to be, right? And the
Right.
whole I don't have any of the summaries in here. Well, it's the same thing over and over. But yeah, no, the Wing Chun martial arts, which look amazing on film. And I know that they actually work to a point. But they at the same time look like slap fighting half the time. Especially when they're fighting someone who is not like a Wing Chun practitioner. So the first Ip Man is really, really good and kind of heartbreaking because it deals with the Japanese occupation of China.
Oh.
And, he's in the Fugong province, and there are all these different masters there. And these guys come from the north, and they challenge everybody. And they finally get to Ip Man, and he beats them back, like, really, like, super easy, barely an inconvenience, right? But then they become, like, a roving band of, like, pirates when the Japanese take over and are causing problems for everybody. And then the Japanese general has the Chinese martial arts masters come and fight for his enjoyment. And it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's it's very much in line, and keep in mind this is all happening in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. These are all period movies. So it's long before any of like the CCP or anything like that. But yeah, it's really good. He's got a wife who he loves. He's got kids who he loves. The second one, he moves the family to Hong Kong. His wife is pregnant. He's trying to set up a school. And it's all about the British occupation of Hong Kong, or I guess the British ownership of Hong Kong. And they send like a world champion boxer comes to find the best Chinese boxing, as they call the martial arts, very racist. And again, defeats one of the masters, and so Ip Man has to like step up and fight him, and it was good as well. I enjoyed it. And then the third one, they're still in Hong Kong. This time, an American who's played by Mike Tyson, face tattoos and all, shows up and is taking over the town, and trying to get the school. And if he can't have the school, he's going to burn it down because he wanted the building. That kind of thing. And in this one, we meet a young Bruce Lee. So. Which there was a bait and switch, because there's a guy in the second one who looks like Bruce Lee. He's got the mannerisms. He's always like touching his nose like Bruce did, and does the shoulder, like he brings the shoulders back and cracks everything. But then we meet young Bruce Lee as a kid. And then in the third one, we meet young Bruce Lee at the end of the second one. In the third one, he's a young man, and he's being trained, and finally goes off to America at the end. And the fourth one, Ip Man goes to America because he finds out he has cancer. Heartbreaking, right?
Okay.
He goes to America so he can get his remaining son into a school there because his wife is dead, his older son is dead, and it's just him and the younger one. And the younger one hates him because he won't train him, he won't teach him kung fu or gung fu. And so he goes to America, he's checking in on Bruce Lee, he's trying to get his kid set up, and he gets caught up in the whole thing where some of Bruce's students are Marines. They try, Chinese students, they try and get their super racist Marine gunnery sergeant to add Chinese Kung Fu to the training regiment because they think it'll make them better hand-to-hand combat. And then it's just, from there, it's just ridiculous. There's a girl that Ip Man befriends at the school who he saves her Mr. Miyagi style from a group of white kids who are trying to cut her hair off and hurt her, and she fights back. The one white girl who is there, she's cheerleader, the head cheerleader, gets her face cut. Her dad happens to work for INS, and then he goes and like starts rounding up people from Chinatown. So it kind of fell off the rails there a little bit. That one's from 2019. So it's got like 2008, 2010, 2015, and then 2019. So the woke sensibility starts to come into play, even though it's in the 60s or 70s or whatever it is. But then the guy that plays Bruce Lee's in there. He's all cocky. He's doing his thing. And yeah. But the thing is Ip Man was Bruce Lee's. It was a real person, right? And so at the end of each movie, there's like a little, like, just kind of biographical, like little, like, Ip Man went on to do this. And then they do the next one. Ip Man went on to do this next. And so it's kind of like this really cool, like, fictional history of the individual who taught Bruce Lee, and in a lot of ways encouraged the kind of improvisation that led to Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah, I've had that series on my list for a while, and just I'm gonna have to just sit down and check it out because I mean I'm a fan of Donnie Yen.
Yeah, Donnie Yen is Ip Man. He's amazing. Yeah. So now here's the thing. I say they get progressively worse. I still loved all four of them. So I was very much a fan of the entire series, and these will be movies I definitely go back and watch again. I will say I did try to get I did try to watch one of them like in the dub for a little bit because I was doing some other stuff and couldn't sit there and read the subtitles because it's in Cantonese. But I very quickly decided whatever I was doing could wait, and I would so I could pay attention because it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, the whole Squid Game. So we watched Squid Game with subtitle version, and there's this couple that we love to watch, Nikki and Steven. They do cool react. That's actually, I got, like, when I rewatched Game of Thrones a few years ago before season 7, that's how I ran into this, YouTube couple. But they, because of, Steven said the guy said he can't watch subtitles because he gets confused or whatever. And so we listened to them reacting to the dub version. It is so bad. The dub version is so bad. I can't explain to you how bad it is. It's funny though. I'm fine watching it only because I've seen it in the original version. But yeah. If something is dubbed versus subtitle, I'll check out to see how good the subtitle or the dubbed version is. But 9 times out of 10, there's a Norwegian show called Ragnarok, which is pretty cool on Netflix. That's I watch that in subtitles. The only thing that I don't watch that I watch dub regardless is anime. But that's watching anime subtitle or watching anime dub versus watching a movie dub is two totally different things.
Oh yeah. Yep. So,
but yeah, I will definitely be checking out It Man. I didn't even really realize that it was subtitle until you told me a couple days ago.
Yeah, I had never watched them before. I, for whatever reason, thought it was going to be in English at first, and I was like, oh, all right. You know, I mean, I don't care about subtitles. They're fine. They don't bother me. But like anime subtitles are the worst. Because you don't get to see any of the cool cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, they're just these fun, just escapism movies, watching some kick-ass martial arts.
Yeah, you know what else is kick-ass martial arts?
You?
Shang-Chi.
You know what else has a pedo apologist? Shang-Chi. Anyway. So, all right, quick aside, just this is fun. My sister-in-law was trying to find a house. So I found like one popped up today and it's right in her price range and it's in the school district, and I sent it to her and then I called her and I was like, "Hey, I found this house." She goes, "Yeah, I saw that. There's a like 4 of those red dots right around that house." And I was like, "Well, it's kind of cheap. Like, just think of all the money you could save on the house. You could just spend that on therapy."
Oh my God.
She was cracking. Like, she's got the same kind of gallows humor that I have. So, and it's like, well, it has a privacy fence. Just tell the boys they're not allowed to leave the backyard.
I say it with its affection. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. You would have made the same joke. So don't even act like you wouldn't have. So, all right. So that is the show. Hey, real quick. So the Spotify Wrapped stuff is happening. We were in 12 countries this year, and we got our first ever stream from Switzerland.
Oh.
So
I want to go to Switzerland.
Yeah. We did 51 episodes. We would have done 52 if we had not taken a week off. Yeah, so we're up 43% in followers on Spotify. So everyone listening on Spotify, thank you. But yeah, we had like,
we're coming for you, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, right. Yeah. we're going to get that $100 contract yet. I didn't stutter.
I know you did.
Anyway. So no, thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week, most likely talking about, Lost in Space. And then I think we'll probably revive the best of for the last 2 weeks of the year.
Ooh, sounds good.
Best TV shows, best movies. So,
Shang-Chi. That's the best MCU movie.
Best,
no, well,
best is ever.
By then I'll probably have seen Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, so we would probably do TV shows first and then movies just to account for Spider-Man.
All right,
which
cool.
I think it is going to be closer to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 than it's going to be to Return of the King.
Wow, that's a very large discrepancy there. Or, geez, I mean, what about in between?
There is no in between, Darryl. It's either Spider-Man 3 or Return of the King. There's no. I mean, that isn't that how you rate every third movie? I mean, I could say it could be like The Last Stand and Return of the King. I mean, they're both equally as bad. The Spider-Man 3 and Return of the King.
I just threw up a little bit of
they're
my mouth.
Equally as unwatchable.
Well, look, Last Stand doesn't have a cool dance scene.
Thank God. I would rather watch Cyclops die off screen for an hour straight.
But you're not watching it. You're not seeing anything.
Exactly.
You're just seeing his little
then watch
float up in the air.
Emo Tobey Maguire go back and forth between crying and dancing for the hour that he did that movie.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
Anyway.
That was so bad.
All right. On that note, thank you all for listening. Happy birthday, Darryl.
Happy birthday, Brian.
And remember, send me the happy birthday wishes. Send none to Darryl.
Incorrect.
No, send Darryl all the happy birthday wishes. He needs them. He's more fragile than I am. I don't even need them. So, please send me.
I would say something there.
What?
No, I was gonna say that's like that's a cry for being. Please send me some.
Nah. So it's just a day. So anyway, we're going to a nice dinner Saturday night, so that'll be fun. So, but other than that, pretty low key.
I'm going to be watching Michigan beat Iowa in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah. So my time for rooting for Michigan this season has ended. So I will be rooting for Iowa because it helps my Cincinnati Bearcats.
Actually, it wouldn't. It would call the Bearcats are in if they win. I think because Alabama's going to lose.
Bearcats win. So Alabama or Georgia is going to lose.
Yeah, I think I think Alabama's going to lose because Alabama. Yeah, I think they're going to lose.
And this Bearcat team is itching to get back at that Bulldog team from last year.
Mm-hmm. That would be funny if they did play.
Actually, I would really like the Bearcats to get the second seed so they don't have to play Georgia in the first round of the playoffs. So
they are not. They would have an answer for Aiden Hutchinson or David Ajabo.
No. So, and they need to get
maybe most
running back. Anyway, all right. On that note, we'll talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.